Well, hey, you guys. So it's no secret that financial stress has been one of the leading causes of conflict and even divorce in marriages. And according to a recent study, 54% of people believe that having a partner with debt is a good enough reason to even consider divorce. But what's worse is that the median cost of divorce now has reached over $7,000 or more. So if finances are the main issue between you and the person that you love, you're not making that issue any better for either of you if you decide to bail. But here's the thing. Money is a major part of any relationship, but it can be a sensitive and emotionally charged topic to wrestle with when it comes to your marriage. And then you throw in in-laws, kids' summer camps, that costs a bajillion dollars, student loans, throw that all in the mix, and you've got a pretty big elephant in the room. So today I want to cover how to talk about money in your marriage without ending it altogether. And I'll be responding to some skeptics online and sharing my own lessons that I've learned over the years at the end. And I'm also going to reveal a time that I recently disagreed with my own money advice when it comes to all of this that we're talking about. So stay tuned for all of that. But first, let's go over a few general principles that I believe in when it comes to money and marriage. So I really do believe that when you marry someone, you become one in every aspect of your life. And the more you see yourself as a team, the easier, honestly, it is to win. And this can be in your parenting. This can be in any topic when it comes to your relationship, but money is also that. When you see yourself as one, that when you both are contributing to the household, whether it's two incomes or one income, but it hits the account and you see this as our money, what are we going to do with it? And you have a plan on where your money's going. Like all of that is just to me a symbol that you guys are united. You're building trust. You're communicating. And again, I think this is really important. So even things like combining checking accounts, doing a budget together, having goals together long-term to know where are you heading. Again, you see yourself as a team. And then from like a mathematical standpoint too, you guys, you're going to build wealth faster if you do it all together. You will make progress faster. Now, at the end of the day, you can believe in all of that, but there's still a chance that you and your spouse will disagree. So how do you communicate with your spouse when it comes to finances, even if they don't want to start the conversation? What do? So one of the biggest things that you can do when you start off this conversation, I always talk about, is your why. Why are you having this conversation in the first place? Is it because you feel like you're working hard and you feel like you have nothing to show for it? Is it because you're stressed? Is it because you're losing sleep at night? Like, what is the why you want to get control of your money? And then I would also say, go ahead and map out like a high level plan of what you're thinking. Because sometimes when you start these conversations, it can feel like, okay, then what are we supposed to do? But you could say, hey, I've been so stressed about this and I just did some quick math. If we tried to pay off debt, we'll use paying off debt as an example. And this is what I saw, as I'm looking at our numbers, like we could be out completely in a year and a half and like have a date out there. Like, this is what we could do. Like, what do you think? Because sometimes, again, having these ideas in a tactical sense really does help the conversation. All right, now before I respond to some of your hot takes from social media, let's talk about that one time that I had a caveat when it comes to this financial advice. Because again, I always talk about you being on the same team, having one checking account, your money being combined. Now, there are some reasons why I would not combine finances and actually say, no, you need to separate them in order to keep you safe. And that's things like abuse, if there's addiction that's not being addressed, if there's financial infidelity and you found out all this stuff, if there's one spouse that is absolutely spending everything and you literally have nothing to save and they won't stop because they're completely out of control. Like, there are these extreme situations, you guys, that you're like, okay, I have to protect myself financially or I'm not going to have money, right? So there is a point there, or maybe I'm going to have to leave, right? If that's the case too. There are parts of this that you do need to protect yourself, and I'm all about that. But again, if you are just a couple, it's like, well, you should never depend on a man. I'm never going to depend on him. Or like, she doesn't get to see what I spend. I work so hard. Or like whatever the thing is, and that's your attitude, just because it's your attitude. Get over your attitude. You combine your finances because there's so much benefit to it as a married couple when you are one. If there's not, other issues, big issues like those going on that I mentioned earlier, combine your accounts. Jade Warshaw and I were recently hosting the Ramsey Show, and we got this call from a woman who said her husband would not give her the login information to their checking account. She couldn't even log in to see their checking account. And then he would give her money once a week to go and buy groceries and do what she needs to do, basically an allowance. Okay, at that point, you guys, like, that is financial abuse. When you don't have a say, when you can't even log in and see numbers, there are some major issues going on. So people in that scenario, and I even told her, like, give them an ultimatum tonight. Either I have access to our money, or I'm going to the bank tomorrow, I'm opening up another checking account, and then we're gonna have a bigger marriage discussion, because the truth is, if he's acting like this when it comes to their money, he's probably acting like that in other parts of their marriage. So what happens is that money, it reveals too sometimes how things are going on in the marriage. And so you wanna make sure that you do protect yourself and that there are boundaries in place if you have to draw those. And for some people, they do. Now, recently I put a question box on my Instagram stories just to ask out there, okay, if you don't combine finances, tell me why. So I got some really interesting responses. So let's go over some of what you guys said. One person said, we just have different habits. Neither of us are good or bad. We just spend differently. So it's easier to separate. Okay, so my question would be like, that's great that you spend differently, but you each can have your own line item in the budget. Let him go spend differently how he wants, and you spend differently how you want. And then other things, just put in the budget. It's fine. Like, it's okay if you guys are different. That's going to happen. But at least, like, do it together and know what's going on. One person said, we have a blended family with different spending priorities for each set of kids. That one is interesting. So what I would say, though, for the overall household, I would still have one account. And then if you each had separate accounts, specifically for the kids, again, like if there's alimony and child support, all of that for different kids, I get that. That makes total sense to kind of keep it clean and separate just so you know what's going on. But for the overall house and functioning in that, I still think there's benefit to having one account. I'm still paying off credit card payments, but my wife has significant savings. Okay, so here's my point, that you guys could be moving through this so much faster if you took that savings, because it's not just your wife's savings now. You guys are married. It's your money. There are savings there. Take that and pay off the debt, and then you guys start investing, and it's gonna go so much faster. We've never combined because it's a logistical nightmare. Okay, I could see how, especially if you're two adults and you've been living your separate lives, coming together, it can be exhausting. So there could be some inconveniences at the beginning because you're changing bills or addresses or whatever, but just go down to the bank and open up a new checking account, close an account here, close an account there, put the money in, because the benefit of that is so much greater than the annoyance of trying to put it all together that may take, a few weeks. You're gonna have a lifetime together. So that benefit is so much greater. I've seen the way my husband spends money on my in-laws, and I'm not here for it. We'd fight about it too much. Okay, so some in-law stuff here, which is very interesting. And here's the thing, we would fight too much. A lot of people say that we just separate it so we don't fight. But what you would fight about is the exact issues that you actually want to dig into to have a richer, deeper marriage. Like, you're just avoiding it. And then you're going to get in the habit of avoiding other stuff when hard things come up. Oh, just over here, over here, over here. And again, this isn't to like be legalistic about it. This is in order for you and enabling you to have a better marriage. So when you actually put all that out and talk about why it annoys you, what's going on, like actually digging into the issue is going to yield a much better, deeper marriage than, again, just avoiding it and doing your own thing. My wife has a really large inheritance and I don't want to impose. Well, that's interesting. Still at that point, I would say, still having one account. And yeah, if there's some like legality or something else, like with her name specifically, maybe you guys figure that out. But again, having one account when it comes to your life and your everyday expenses, like there's still benefit to that. I'm a divorce attorney and I've seen issues this can cause in the long run. That is fair. I'll give that one. I get it. Totally. Absolutely. There's a lot, and even state by state with how the laws are represented, it is pretty wild. It is. But again, going at it, not with that's going to be the end in mind, right? Because that's not how you're going to want to start off a marriage anyways. We've combined savings, but separate checking accounts. It's a nice balance of the autonomy and the teamwork. Okay, that's fair. But with separate checking accounts, just because of that, I'm like, is it because you don't want him to see what you're spending or you don't want her to see? At the end of the day, it's like, okay, great. You're spending it on this, you're spending on that, but we're agreeing on where our money's going in general together. I don't care if you see what I spend at Target because that's what I'm going to spend. And it's the plan that we talked about and it's fine. All right, you guys, those were very interesting. And I understand some of the arguments. I hear you. I totally do. But listen, whether you're single or married, combined finances or not, one of the best things you can do with your money, though, is having a plan for it. And that is the monthly budget. So everydollar.com makes this so easy. So give it a try with the link below. And if you're interested in hearing me address a few other financial principles that people love to hate, you'll have to check out my episode on eating at home. Because, it's a radical idea. So remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So one thing about me, I believe two things can be true at the same time. Do I believe that you can have the power to build wealth by following a plan and making intentional choices? Yes. Do I believe in listening to expert advice to guide you through certain parts of the process? Also, yes. So even though money can feel very personal and private for a lot of people, the truth is that a financial advisor is a must, especially when it comes to investing. So today I want to talk about that and share 5 reasons why you should never handle your finances alone. A lot of people assume that this service is only for the extremely wealthy people, that's what they need. But the truth is, it's wise to get a coach or somebody in your corner at any stage of your financial journey. We've already done the work to find someone that you can trust, but technically there is a right and a wrong time to invest. So stay tuned till the end so you can hear my thoughts on that. But first, let's make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to what a financial advisor is. The term financial advisor isn't an official title or degree. It's just the name of people who offer some kind of service to those seeking guidance with their personal finances. So a few examples of this is a CPA, a certified public accountant, an RIA, a registered investment advisor, a CFP, a certified financial planner, a PFS, a personal finance specialist. And all of those abbreviations can kind of get confusing, but it's encouraging to me to know there are experts out there who are talking about money. They're being educated on it. They got to take a lot of tests and all this smart stuff. So listen, they know what they're doing. But my favorite way to find a trustworthy advisor is through SmartVestor Pro. So I will leave a link for you to get connected with a professional in your area down below. Now let's talk about 5 key reasons why you need to work with a pro. Number 1, financial advisors keep you on track with your investing plan. So in short, financial advisors are constantly asking the important questions that you may not even think to ask. And beyond that, they will know the specific answers and the specific numbers for your situation. So for example, they may have insider information and how much money that you need to have saved for retirement, or how you can make up for lost time if you're investing late. Should you change your investment portfolio as you get older and you're making more money? How do you go about making some of these changes? What are the tax implications? What happens if you sell a property? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So if you don't believe me, go do a quick Google search, because the data consistently shows that those that work with a professional to help them invest are ahead of those that don't. All right, number 2, financial advisors do more than just invest your money for you. So there is a broad list of things that a financial professional will do for you and help you think about. This is everything from rebalancing your investments, tax planning, estate planning, long-term care planning, spending strategies after retirement, legal restrictions that affect all of the things that we just mentioned. I mean, financial advisors literally live and breathe this stuff. So it doesn't mean that you don't get a say in your own strategy. In fact, I want to empower you. It is your money. They are there to assist and advise, not make the final call. So just because you're a financial professional said, oh yeah, you need to do this, I want you to understand why. And if you don't feel good about it, don't do it, okay? Now, they are professionals. They know what they're doing, so I want you to be able to trust them. But also remember, this is your money. You have the power to say yes or no. All right, number 3, even the pros need help sometimes. I mean, you think about it, doctors can't perform surgeries on them. I mean, graduate students, don't grade their own essays. So no matter what industry you're in, everyone has blind spots. So even if you work in the world of finance, or maybe you're good with money, having an expert's opinion is really crucial when you're making big financial decisions. Plus, professional financial advisors often work with up to 100 clients or more, which gives them a much larger amount of context than just, again, your personal perspective and your opinions. And they're unbiased when it comes to their expertise across the board. And again, this is whether they are paid, even how they're paid, right? A flat fee or a commission. Finding someone that you trust is so key. All right, number 4, you just don't have the time. Let's be honest. If you're working a full-time job, you got friends, you got family, you got a million other things to be thinking about. Investing is a really big part of building wealth, and you want to do it the right way. And it also can be something that you just put on autopilot most days. But this only works if a professional is on your team and they're constantly looking at all of the factors when you don't have time to analyze them. So things like inflation and stock market trends and the housing climate, like all of this, yes, I want you to be informative. But again, they're going to have a deeper understanding, which is great. Number 5, financial advisors that make non-emotional decisions so you don't have to lose progress. So just like T Swift's tour, the world of investing has some eras to it, if you know what I mean. So like the stock market drop in 2008, the rise and the fall of crypto, the GameStop spike 2021. I mean, all of these things are factors into our economy. But here's the deal. The flashy headlines can really stir up some big emotion, which causes people to make really bad decisions and pull their money out when they should have just stayed in. And investing works best if you're in it for the long haul, which means working with a professional you can talk yourself down. Our investment professional we met with, he even said the other day, he's like, half my job is literally emailing and taking phone calls, talking people off the ledge because people freak out. They do, and they want to take the money out. But what your investment professional or advisor is going to see is, oh my gosh, if we stay in the market, we actually can end up buying more funds. Your money will go further. So when the market returns, which it has always returned, you're going to make more. So it's best just to ride out the wave. Okay, now that you have more of an understanding of why it's important to work with an investment professional, let's talk about when and how you should reach out to a pro. So when? This is when you are debt-free and you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. This is crucial. Then your goal is to invest 15% of your income into retirement. So this is going to include 401ks and 403bs and Roth IRAs, all of that. And once investing begins, then I would reach out to a pro. So next is how. So how do you find a reliable financial advisor in your area? Well, I will leave a link to SmartVestor Pros down below. So what's really powerful, though, is I would go and talk to maybe 2 or 3 different ones. And maybe one of them, you're kind of like, yeah, they kind of just, you don't like them. That's fine. Don't use them. Find somebody that you actually like and that you trust and makes you feel comfortable and, again, has the heart of a teacher. But I want one for you that you enjoy and you trust and you love. If you're looking for more investing advice, make sure to check out my episode on how investing can actually lose you money. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So in my current stage of life, the word frugal is not something I would probably use to describe myself, but I have definitely experienced seasons where money is tighter than others, and I'm always impressed with people and their creativity of how they figure out how to save money. And they do it usually to reach a big financial goal. And so it's always inspiring. So today I'm going to react to some videos of people winning by living frugally. And spoiler alerts, I may or may not know number 5 personally. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, first up, here is Frugal Millionaire Mom.
I save as a frugal millionaire. I reuse and repair, just like these gift bags, as well as tissue paper, and this cord broke, but a little electrical tape fixed it right up. I always try not to buy something new unless I really have to. And I save so much money by enjoying free or low-cost activities in my area. My library offers free passes to things like museums and aquariums, and that's what our taxes are paying for, so make sure you take advantage of it. Another way I save is by stretching the products that I have, either by using less of it or using it less frequently. And I might be a millionaire, but I am not going to let all that lotion go to waste. And I am not ashamed to buy clearanced out groceries. I save thousands of dollars doing this. Even if it's close to its best by date, I will buy extras and freeze it for later. And last but not least, it is unbelievable the amount of things that you can buy used or get for free from a buy nothing group. And not only is it better for your wallet, it's better for the planet. And if you love saving money too, make sure you give me a follow.
Oh my gosh, so many great things. Okay. Definitely reuse the bags 100%. The tissue paper, that is a Sharon Ramsey, and my sister Denise Specialty. I can't, y'all. I don't know why. The tissue paper part of me is like, you can buy a massive thing of tissue paper for like $5. Why are we we are remolding the tissue paper. We are taking the wrinkles out and we are folding it nicely and we are going home with the tissue paper. That's what my mom did and my sister did for every baby shower or every birthday party. They saved the tissue paper. And I don't know why. It just makes me laugh. I'm like, the bags, absolutely. Like I will save and reuse birthday bags, but tissue paper, I don't. No. The product thing is interesting too, because I feel like if I'm on the end of a product, I am that same way where I'm like, I want to use every little bit. And you just feel like you can't afford the next one. Like it's like I'm using every amount that I can. So I get that. But I think what I saw on hers, she like cut the shampoo, like the lotion bottle and all that. I don't go that far, but I think it's great, you know? And then it is true. There's so many free things, whether you're getting free things through a group or like an attraction or something. Yep. Okay. So I loved it. Those were good. Okay. All right. Up next is a video from a very successful minimalist.
I'm frugal and these are some of my favorite frugal things. I have one emotional support water bottle and I really don't get the point of having multiple. I've had the same 2 jeans for the past several years, a blue pair and a black pair, and I don't stress about keeping up with fast fashion trends. This is all the jewelry I own, most of which was gifted to me, but they're all things that I actually love and enjoy wearing. I stick to a grocery list, so I buy exactly what I need and no food or money goes to waste. I love my dupe Lululemon bag because I don't need to pay 3 times the price for their logo. I have a refurbished iPhone 14. I'm okay with not having the newest model because getting an upgrade every year is a waste of money.
Okay, the water bottle thing I think is brilliant. Yes, because we usually always drink out of the same one, but yet we have so many. But I'll be honest, some get like stuck in the dishwasher for me and then I have to grab another one. I don't know. I like having options, which reminds me of like her jewelry and her jeans. I'm like, ooh. That's like where I like to spend money is clothes and jewelry. So I'm like, I'm probably not going to do that, but I get it. And then the grocery list one, yes and amen. Now that is a place. Food, we always say at groceries, it is so easy to go over budget with groceries. So making a list, I love that. All right, up next is a paid off vehicle hot take. Can't wait to see this one.
Call me crazy all you want, but I would much rather have a paid off old vehicle than a brand spanking new one with a huge car note. Do you agree or disagree? If you're new here, my name is Kat, and this is day 8 of my frugal living series. Each day I've been sharing tips to live a frugal life, and this one is one of my favorites. Owning my car outright gives me so much peace of mind. I'm not worried about if I'm going to make the payment each month because it's already mine. Also, I have 3 little boys, and they are crazy. The snacks, the dirt, the grime, it's just never ending, and since my vehicle is older, I don't need to be stressed out about it.
Kat, I love you, sister. Yes, all of it. Yes, I 100% agree. Wasting like up to $800, even to $1,000 on a car payment every month for something really nice, it just like, it kind of irks my soul a little bit because I know it's going down in value, and especially if you have little ones, like what she was showing, so much dirt, so much mess, and you're like, I don't want to stress about it. Don't give me those brain calories. Like, no, I want to live a peaceful life. Peaceful life with a paid off car and a peaceful life, not worrying about every little spill that happens. Let's just enjoy. So, Kat, I love it. Okay, I have a feeling that a lot of our grandparents out there will think the next one is a major hot take. But before we go there, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's open enrollment time for health insurance, and if healthcare costs are stressing you out, you are not alone. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a biblical and budget-friendly alternative to insurance, and I am proud to recommend them. With CHM, you choose your provider, submit eligible bills online, and then other believers help share the cost. And members have shared over $12 billion in health costs since CHM started almost 45 years ago. So CHM is a simple, affordable way that you can join actually anytime and not just during open enrollment. So go to chministries.org/budget to learn more. That's chministries.org/budget. All right, up next is our anti-clutter confession.
Here's something that I do not do as a frugal person. I do not hold on to crap. When I get takeout, and I occasionally do, these containers go straight in the garbage because I'm a frugal person who appreciates quality. I'm not throwing this out because it's from takeout. I'm throwing it out because it's just not great quality and I don't want to put my food in it. I will, however, keep this wonderful glass smoothie container that I got from a store. This I can repurpose, and it's not going to mess with my health. The plastic takeout container will. Being frugal and not constantly decluttering is a recipe for disaster. If you're on your frugal journey, please do not hold on to clutter. Do not hold on to garbage. Only keep quality things in your house. If you hold on to quality items, you will only buy quality items. You'll also appreciate things more. When I'm shopping, I now can easily recognize junk. I'm responsible with my spending. I know what I want to keep in my house and I know what I want to throw in the trash. I'm sure there are a million ways that I could repurpose that little takeout container, but I know myself and it'll just turn into clutter. I wouldn't want to pack my lunch in the takeout container, but I'll gladly pack one of my smoothies in this nice glass jar. It's okay to have your own preferences while on your frugal journey. Love you guys. Stay frugal.
I love that. And that's so true though, because I'm like, getting rid of stuff, it frees up, I swear, just space not only in your house, but in your mind and in your emotions. I'm like, oh. And so not holding on to things just because they're free. And I think frugality can tend to lean that way. If it's like, oh, it's free, we're just going to take it. And then you just have a bunch of junk that you don't need. So I love that. Okay. Finally, number 5 is my bougie frugal friend, George Campbell.
Priceline Express.
Okay.
Allows you to get like really great deals on hotels, but you don't know what hotel you're booking.
I've heard about this.
So it makes people nervous. They're like, I don't know what hotel this is. Now they'll tell you, hey, it's a 4-star hotel with these great ratings, but you don't know specifically. I knew exactly what hotel I wanted to stay at. I was like, I want to stay at the Kimpton Aventi in New York City.
Okay.
I use a browser extension called Travel Arrow, which sees through Priceline's
Stop it.
magic cloak of invisibility and reveals exactly what hotel I'm about to book. But Priceline Express gives it to you at a steeper discount.
George Campbell, you got to love him. He's always going to find a way to save us money, people. That is what he does best. And that tip is amazing because Priceline, I mean, people have stayed in incredible hotels for like half the price when they do this. But always my fear was like, but what if like New York City, right? Like what if you're not in the area you wanted to be in? And I don't know, it kind of changes the way the trip could be if the location is off. But with his tip that you can like see through it with that arrow thing or whatever. George, we love ya. I affirm. I confirm that. Affirm and confirm, George. All the above. Okay, one tool that the frugal and not so frugal people love is Ramsey's budgeting app, EveryDollar. Okay, you guys, I love EveryDollar because not only is it a budgeting app, like I mentioned, but now you're able to see your entire financial picture in it. It gives you peace of mind and control. We love it. So I'm going to put a link down below to make sure to check that out. So I may not be the most naturally frugal person out there, but there are places where I draw a hard line. So make sure to check out my episode, 8 Things I Stopped Buying, and you should too. You can click right here, or if you're listening on podcast, I'll leave a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So when you hear people say like, oh, well, rich people have struggles too, sometimes there's like an immediate eye roll, which I totally get. We're like, they're fine. They're fine. But listen, just stick around and hear me out because today I want to talk about the hidden money challenges that wealthy families face. And some of you might fall into this category without even realizing it. But first, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. All right, a lot of millennials and Gen Xers are raising kids that have more access to financial security than they did growing up. And what can happen is there can be some tricky things within that. So just to clarify, I'm not saying baby step 7ers out there have the same level of like financial hardship as people that are working 3 jobs to get out of debt, right? Like there's a season of sacrifice when you are living paycheck to paycheck and you're trying to get out of debt. You're trying to just build up an emergency fund in general, like all of that. Like that is hard grinding work for sure. But here's the thing with money is money continues just to be a tool in our life. But as our life continues to change season after season, there are going to be things in our lives that we bump up against that are a hardship. So whether it is working extra jobs and it's like you're exhausted and tired and miserable. And then some other times, you know, you talk to people and they are building wealth, but their marriages are falling apart, right? So like no one is immune to hardship in life, regardless of how much money you have or how much money you're making. But listen, if you are in the grind phase, I see ya. That is not going to last forever. But again, on the other hand, even if you have margin in your budget, there is something about raising kids in a household where you want them to learn hard work. You want them to learn the grind of life. You don't want them to be entitled. And maybe you've worked your butt off to get to this place where, yeah, you have some financial freedom, but yet you don't want to screw up your kids, right? And so what that looks like with our kids of even having to manufacture sometimes a harder path for them. But what does it look like when they're not seeing the struggle day in and day out? Because regardless of socioeconomic classes, every family has access to more debt, convenient spending, comparison, like all the things in our financial life look so different regardless of where you are financially than it did like 20, 30 years ago. And when you think about the idea that basically anyone can get a credit card today, you have buy now, pay later, you have social media that you're scrolling through and you're seeing people live their lives that you never would have seen 20 or 30 years ago. You got conveniences like grocery delivery. Like our life just looks different financially today in 2025 than it ever has been. So how do you raise then financially resilient kids when money is scarce? And maybe you're like, yeah, I need you to see that this is tough. Or if you are in a season of abundance, how do you do that? Well, there are 5 things that I think are important to teach kids when it comes to money in general. Number 1 is gratitude. The emotion behind money that is so important to grasp as early as you can is gratitude. And I meet 40-year-olds that don't have this emotional capacity. But this is something in life, again, regardless of where you are financially, that's going to be huge. Now, if you have your 4 walls covered, food, shelter, utilities, transportation, the truth is, compared to the entire globe, you are doing incredible. You really are. And so there is this idea of gratitude of where we are. And gratitude does not mean that you're just happy and complacent, right? You can still have goals and strive for things. But this heart of gratitude of being present of where you are is such a model of your character. And so teaching our kids that to be grateful. And this is even like making them say thank you, right? And understanding where things are coming from and the fact that not everyone has what you have, like whatever the verbiage is around your home, but making a point that we are going to be so grateful. And they're watching you, parents, and your gratitude is huge. But I think this is one part of money that is so huge. Now, I have a children's book out about gratitude called I'm Glad for What I Have. So I can put a link down below if you have little ones, because I think this is, again, such an important topic. All right, number 2 is participation. So kids should start contributing to the home at a young age. There is something that happens when your kids have a level of responsibility, and it can be something small, like just keeping their room clean, right? Or as they get older, it's like, yes, we're going to unload the dishwasher, or you're going to help fold laundry. Like you're going to do things around the home that take a level of sacrifice. But when they complete tasks around the home, there is a level of confidence that actually gets put into your kids, because they're not just, sitting there not contributing anything, where to a degree that can create some level of emotional laziness, but to know like they can be effective, like they can do things. And what's great about chores is they get to see something that is not completed and then completed. And then as we're talking about money, like paying them on some of this stuff and letting them participate and understand where money comes from. But having responsibility around the home is so, so important. Now, before I share my hot take on the word no, I do want to tell you something that is an absolute yes, and that is one of our sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. So when you lose your employer-sponsored health insurance, there may be a better option than COBRA. So consider Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is an affordable, biblically based alternative to health insurance that could be a third of the price of COBRA. Yes, CHM programs start as low as $98 a month, and CHM has helped hundreds of thousands of families take care of over $11 billion in medical bills since 1981. And CHM members are also supported spiritually with prayer when they have a medical event. So try getting that with COBRA, because you're not. So whether you're going through a job loss or a life change, or maybe you just want to consider other options to save on healthcare costs, check out CHM. So learn more at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. All right, number 3 for our kids is to hear the word no. Now, you don't have to be extremely wealthy to be able to give your kids what they want, because sometimes it's like a $3.99 thing on Amazon that you're like, yeah, sure, we'll just do that, right? Like you can find ways to just kind of like medicate their want in the moment. It's like, here, just take it, whatever. And when that starts to become the rhythm and the pattern, which again is easier in the present, just to be like, here, We'll just fix it, like get you what you want so you're not throwing a fit and we have to go through this whole parenting cycle of like learning all this stuff. Like sometimes you just don't have the energy for it. And so it's easier just to give in. But when you have the ability to say no and to stand your ground, get the repercussions of maybe like the tantrum or whatever the thing is, it is so key because our kids have to learn boundaries. The idea that money is just limitless is not an option, because when that happens, when that's their mindset, then they're going to go into adulthood. And when they actually bump up against a financial boundary, debt is right there to be like, oh yeah, you can get what you want when you want it. And you don't have to tell yourself no. So learning no and seeing that level of discipline from you as a parent and also you displaying that to them as a kid is so key when it comes to money. Those limits and those boundaries are so, so important. Number 4 is patience. So patience is also something. Delayed gratification is something we are terrible at in today's world. Like, again, instant gratification is everywhere. We can get what we want when we want it. Even information or buying anything. Like you can just open your phone, do what you need to do, get the fact that you need from Google or ChatGPT or look up the weather. Like you can do whatever you want within 5 seconds because of our phones. And what that has created is that same level of instant gratification when it comes to purchasing and buying things. So having the patience to save up and pay for something is huge. And this is true as adults, but also your kids should do the same. So have the patience and have them have a goal of something that they're saving up for, something that's kind of out of reach for them, but it's good for them not to get it in the moment, but to do that. And then also we do no spend months as well, because sometimes it's like, even if they have the money to spend because they've done chores, sometimes it's just like they just want stuff all the time. And you're like, y'all, stop asking. So sometimes we just do a hard stop, no spend month. And for a few days, they kind of complain, like, well, this, that. And then it's amazing. After a while, they're fine. And they go back and play with what they have. So patience is key. Number 5 is to sit in disappointment. Because let's be honest, disappointment is the concept of real life. Like in real life, we feel so much disappointment on so many things at different levels in life. But man, it is real. And you have to know how to cope with that. And I've heard recently, I was reading a parenting book and they were talking about how there used to be helicopter parents, right? Where they would just hover and like take over and control everything. And now they're considering parenting. A lot of parents are snowplow parents, meaning they go through and pave the way so there's no bumps, there's no grooves, there's no like, oh gosh, am I going to fall down? No, it's like this perfect slope for your kids to go down with no issues and everything's fine. And they fix everything. So there's no roadblocks. Everything is done for them. And you have to know, like, guys, listen, there are going to be bumps in the road. And when that happens, that creates resilience. And yes, there's going to be disappointment in life. And as a parent with little ones, like I will sit with you in that, right? Like we will talk about that. I will be here for you in that. But you have to experience disappointment because that is a part of life. So again, parenting is big, you guys, but regardless of whether you are parenting when you have the means to just fix things with money, or maybe you still are struggling, but you're exhausted. You're like, I just will throw money at the situation just to like get through the day. Like these things are so important for our kids and no one's perfect. We're not consistent on all of these all the time. Like you're not going to be. It's okay. There's a lot of grace in this, but the overall spirit and environment of the home as we're raising our kids is so key because money is something they need to learn from a tactical standpoint, but also an emotional standpoint. It's something that can be overlooked. Now, something else that can be overlooked when it comes to money is what everyone gets wrong about generational wealth. So that episode is coming up next. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. This one goes out to all my overachievers out there. Even if you feel confident with the basics of wealth building, there may be some areas that you're overlooking. So today we're going to unpack some of the common things that people tend to overlook when trying to build wealth. Now make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, let's jump in. We're going to go right to the list, y'all, which I love. Number 1, you may be overlooking if you have savings but still carry debt. So this happens a lot. So people will call into the Ramsey Show and they're like, hey, we have $13,000 of debt and we're going to start working our way out. And we're like, great. Do you have any savings? And they're like, yeah, we got $6,000 over here. And we're like, Well, good. Let's throw $5,000 at the debt and get this started. Because here's the thing, your debt is costing you. And people have this mindset of like, I want to have a ton of money in savings before I start paying off debt because $1,000, which is what we teach as your starter emergency fund, it's not enough, all of this. And what we find is it takes so long to build up that savings that you never really make traction on the thing that's actually eating away your income, which is your debt. Like you are paying interest on these things when you're paying debt. So it's not only the payment, but it's everything on top of it. And when you can get that done as fast as possible, then you can start building up big savings. So that $1,000 emergency fund, it's there. It can feel very uncomfortable, I get, for a lot of people. But if something big happens, pause your debt snowball and everything that you were momentally putting towards your debt, use that for the emergency that you have, right? If you need more money than $1,000, you can get to it. And usually for anything that is above $1,000, you'll get a bill. You'll have probably a month or two to pay for it. So you can figure out ways, around it to cash flow it. But this idea of like, oh, I just want to keep a bunch of savings, that is costing you. Number 2, your emergency savings is in a regular checking account. So listen, y'all, move it. Because when you log into your checking account, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, we have all this money. And if we need to use a little here or there, there's like, it's easy. It's just, we're all right there, right? It's the same account that you're emotionally used to spending out of. So what I want you to do is I want you to move it to a high yield savings account. Usually an online bank is great for this. Fairwinds is a great credit union that you can put your money there. But this idea of having your money in a separate account emotionally kind of separates it. So to get to it, I want you to be able to, I want you to have a card associated with that account. Because if you got to use your emergency fund, you want to be able to use it. You don't want it in an investment somewhere that you can't get to. But also you want a little bit more friction than just your everyday checking account. All right, number 3, your house payment exceeds 25% of your monthly pay. So owning a home, it is a big goal. It is a massive accomplishment when you get to do that. But if you're spending up to 30, 40, 50% of your income just to maintain a mortgage, you do not have enough money left in your budget, in your income, to do the other things in life that you need to do. And so what we find is so often people will get a house beyond that 25%. And then what's hard is, you think about it, you got to, invest, you want to give, there's other things you want to be doing with money, not just paying a massive mortgage payment. So that either means, 1, it's going to take you longer to save up for a house so that your mortgage payment is less than if you went in with not a lot of money down. So maybe it takes a little bit longer to save. Maybe it's your expectation of the actual house or the area that you want to live. Maybe that looks different than what you want in order to get into the market. But again, I know 25% can feel really conservative for a lot of people, and a lot of people complain about this with us. But again, when it is in control, and if your income's going up and it's 28%, you're like, yeah, but I'm getting a raise in the next year or two. There's workarounds to it, but sticking to that 25% mentality is going to keep you in a range that is wise and safe and give you enough margin to do other things with your money that are really important. Number 4, you give in to lifestyle creep with every raise. This happens all the time, y'all. You're working and working, you're used to living on this income, and then you get a bump. And you're like, oh, well, then I get this much more a month. That's great. I can spend that here. And then the next year that happens and you spend the bump again, and you just keep moving up in lifestyle. And that is lifestyle creep to the T, versus saying, hey, I'm going to stay at a lifestyle that I have. Now, if I am earning more money, yes, can I take some of that and use it, for my good and for what I want? Absolutely. But we're also going to be wise with the other part, that we're not going to just continue to spend the raise. We're going to invest it. We're going to give it. We're going to do other things that are beneficial to us and our future selves, not just in the moment. All right, more of this list in a minute. But first, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. Because if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, your name, address, email, even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites. And data brokers collect your data, sell it, and that puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the good news is Delete Me removes your data and helps protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So protect your family's privacy and safety by signing up for Delete Me. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. All right, number 5, credit card payments rob your monthly budget. Y'all, the credit card. We can go round and around with this. But here's the truth, and it has been proven that you end up spending more when you spend with a credit card because emotionally, it's not your money that you're spending. And you continue to live in the past. Like when that bill comes and you have to pay it, everything is already experienced versus in the moment, when you pay for it in the moment, it's done. You don't have to worry about a payment. You don't have to worry about a bill. Like it's done. And then what happens is people are like, well, I'll have it, but I won't go in debt. I'll pay it off every month. And then it creeps and creeps and creeps. And then we talk to people on the regular, tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt. And then the interest rates on these, y'all, are insane. It's disgusting. It's horrible. So it is a bad financial habit to be in. Just pay in the moment with your own money. And I promise you will love it. And if you need help, creating a budget and knowing, hey, do I have money in the moment to spend? Check out Every Dollar. It's an amazing budgeting app. It's my favorite tool when it comes to your money. We'll put a link down below. All right, number 6 is invest less than 15% in retirement. So when a lot of people start off, they're working, they're like really excited because, they're like maybe got their first job and they sign up for their 401k plan and their company matches 4%. And they're like, great, I'll invest 4% and get the match. And then that's all they do. And that's how they live their lives for a long time. So I want you to go beyond that. I want you investing 15% of your income. Now, this is after you are debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund, because that 15% is going to set you up for a great retirement. And that can be through your company's 401k or a Roth IRA, but being able to invest a good amount of money, a good amount of your paycheck for the future is really important. Number 7, you don't prioritize generosity. So this is often overlooked, and it can be because you don't feel like you have a lot of money to give. It could be you're just not in the habit of it. You don't think about it. But giving is one of those crucial money principles that's not just good for the world, but it also changes who you are. And there's something about living life where money is not such this factor where we control every bit of it and we just live our lives like this, because that doesn't bring peace. That does not bring peace to you. And so living your life with an open hand is something, again, that is going to be a blessing for people, but also for yourself and what it changes within you. And I think it's just kind of like, it's kind of the antidote. It's like the preventative side of living in a world of like stuff and consumerism and like, I just want to get this to be happy. Like all of that starts to really chip away when you're like, yeah, I'm going to be a generous person and I'm going to give. And that could look like your time as well, right? There's other ways to give, but with your money, it's a big step for a lot of people. So I always encourage people to give a little until you can give a lot. All right, this is just the beginning of all the things that you need to be aware of. So I want you to check out my episode, 6 Money Hacks You Should Never Trust, because they're traps. So you can click right here, or if you're listening on podcast, I'll put a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So I recently saw an article that laid out monthly spending trends for the average American. And the data comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it's really interesting to kind of get a peek behind everyone's budget. And since you guys find it so helpful to realistically compare your financial progress, I figured today, let's unpack that data together and just see where we all stand. And at the end, I'll share 3 ways to create a positive impact in your monthly budget, because I think that's also really important. And make sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. All right, let's get started. Okay, first, I want to clarify that when it comes to your money, you have to know where you are in order to know where you're going. And also remember that comparison is the thief of joy. And so as we're going through these numbers, I want you to have context of where you are in your financial journey, because it's going to help you be able to be like, okay, does this kind of feel on average? And then also, this isn't you, right? This is the average American. So remember that, but don't compare how someone else is doing to you from a deeper sense, right? Because your financial journey is so personal. And I always talk about, put the blinders on, run your own race. And I think that's really important. So again, always remember this balance of, seeing other people's numbers and thinking, okay, that's kind of where we line up. I think that's good. But don't get so bogged down and feel like, oh my gosh, we're doing terrible or whatever it may be, right? So there's a balance here, but it's always good to feel like you're never alone, because you're not. We're all on this journey together. All right, so let's look at the average American's spending habits, and then I will kind of react and give you my thoughts as we go along. So as a baseline for context, remember the average annual salary nationwide is about $59,000. So $60,000 on average. All right, let's break down these numbers. The average spent on housing was $2,120. And that feels about right, especially if you have a mortgage in there. Rent has gone up. So in my head, yeah, usually around that like $1,800 to $2,000-ish mark on average feels about right. It's kind of what I hear from the Ramsey Show when we have callers. So yeah, that feels about right. Average spent on food, $832. So this one's interesting because this food category doesn't break out groceries and restaurants. So it's like all together. And I'm going to say as a family of five, that it was a little low. I was like, okay. The Cruzes could probably tighten up on that line item a little bit on our end. All right, the average amount spent on transportation, $1,098. So transportation usually includes gas. For some people, that's also insurance, kind of upkeep for your car. But per month, $1,000, which I always think gas, that feels high. But then if you add in all those other repairs and insurance, then it's probably right on. And auto insurance is one of those expenses that was on the rise the last 2 years. It's gotten very expensive. All right, next, the average amount spent on healthcare, $513. And this is an interesting one because when it comes to medical expenses, this is one sinking fund that I always recommend for people because yes, hopefully you have insurance, but even with insurance, you're going to pay some out of pocket. And you may not have all your insurances. Like we don't have dental or vision for our family. So we do pay out of pocket for those, which can get really expensive. So when you average it out, that feels about right. All right, the average amount spent on personal insurance and pensions. So I'm assuming this is like your health insurance, maybe life insurance. I don't know how many insurances were included here, but then also your pension, if you have one, that's taken out of your paycheck. So that's going to be $796 per month. I don't know why. Yeah, it feels high. I feel like some of these usually get taken out of your paycheck before it hits your account. So when you go back and look at your pay stub, that and sometimes taxes, you're like, oh, wow, that's how much we spent. It's usually more than what it feels like because you don't always see it. The average spent on entertainment, $303. Feels right. The average spent on reading, oh my gosh. Hello, fellow book lovers. This was an actual line item. Thank you, Bureau of Labor Statistics, was $10, the average amount spent. Okay, and I will just say from my vantage point, if you're getting just a paperback book, you can get one for like $9 to $13, $14. So if someone's reading once a month, on average, that feels right. The average spent on miscellaneous, $110 on average. Now, miscellaneous is a category I do tell you to have in the budget as well, because there's going to be catch-alls of things that you don't plan for that do come up that you need to put somewhere in your budget to stay on track with that zero-based idea with your income minus all of your expenses equals zero. And if something comes up and you don't have a category for it, you're like, well, what do we do? That's where the miscellaneous category comes in. And that does feel a little low, $100. I feel like stuff comes up a lot for us, but I guess it's how detailed your budget is. All right, the average amount spent on apparel and services, $170. Yeah, that feels right too. It's good. Okay, so I have some more thoughts and 3 tips I want to give you. But first, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. So I saw a headline recently that really caught my attention that 1/3 of the U.S. population's background info is now public. So for 115 million of us, data breaches mean that our info is out there for anyone to find. So this is stuff like our names, addresses, phone numbers, and so much more. And this is why I love and use Delete Me, because they find and remove your information from hundreds of data broker websites that will buy, sell, and trade your personal data. So take control of your online privacy with Delete Me. Individual Delete Me plans start as low as $9 a month. So sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, or click the link in the description. Okay, so there's all the numbers. That's where the average American falls when it comes to all of these categories. But no matter where you fall in these averages, what matters to me is that you have control over your money so that you can achieve your money goals. So remember these 3 things. Number 1, if you're not liking what you're seeing, use that motivation to make a change next year. We are coming up in the new year, and this is a great time to make a change. So if you're seeing your numbers and then you're comparing them maybe, and you're thinking, oh gosh, or maybe you pulled your numbers for the first time, when I told you to do that at the beginning of this video, and you think, oh wow, this is a lot of money that I'm eating out, or whatever it may be. If you don't like where you're at, you can change. You can decide to make a change, because if you don't, you're going to keep getting the same results. All right. Number 2, remember you're the exception. Let's just say that average people, quote unquote, out there are not being intentional with their money. When we see surveys and read data, a lot of people don't know always where their money goes. They don't know how much debt they have. They don't know how much is in retirement. I mean, a lot of people, they just don't have a lot of intentionality around their money. So if you are listening to this podcast or watching this video, you're doing something. You're reaching out at some level to want to be smart with money. So that is a great thing. You are learning and growing, which is always where you want to be. And number 3, when systems, boundaries and guardrails are in place, you and your money will thrive. When you have elements in your life, whether it's tools or apps or a way of thinking or a process or a plan, you're more likely to achieve your money goals. You're more likely to get control of your money. If you just say, I want to be in control of my money, I don't want to be stressed, but you don't do anything with that, then it's not going to happen. So what I'm talking about is everything from the baby steps, even this, our 7-step plan, actually having some checkpoints to say, hey, what progress can I be making with my money? Even having conversations, if you're married with a spouse or if you're single with a friend, making that part of your routine. Even a monthly budget is something that's really going to help you. I mean, we put this into place when we first got married, and it has been so helpful to know and have a plan every single month with where our paycheck is going. And we use EveryDollar. It is the best budgeting app. And I have it on my phone. Winston has it on his, and we have the same account. So every single month we plan for the next month, and we're like, okay, what's happening here, here, and here? You add categories. It's connected to our bank account. So the transactions come in and we can drag and drop them. It is a system to keep us on track with our money goals. And it's so helpful. So I'll put a link down in the description so you can check out EveryDollar and build your first budget for free. But there's also other things that you can be doing, even, listening to podcasts or watching, YouTube channels like this one, like whatever it is, put some things into place to continue to learn and to grow and to implement in your life. And if you're looking for more ways to cut down when it comes to your spending specifically, I break it down in my episode, 22 expenses to cut that you won't even miss. So you can click right here or click the link below to check that out. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Hey, listen, it can be tough to build wealth in 2025, but don't let that frustration put you out of the driver's seat and sitting in the passenger seat and just be like, whatever happens, happens. No, you can actually direct where you and your money go in the future. So if you want to know what I mean by all of this, keep watching, because today we're going to talk about 5 of the most toxic and unhelpful lies that people believe when it comes to their financial situation. So let me know in the comments which ones really hit home for you, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. All right, lie number 1. You ready? Is my situation will never change. So sometimes if you are in a place in life where there doesn't feel like there's a lot of hope, and it's like, oh my gosh, like maybe it's a dead-end job you feel like you're in. Maybe you feel like financially you just haven't made any headwinds like in the last few years, and you're just like sitting there thinking, this is how my life is going to be. I just want to encourage you, over time, life is going to change, and in a good way, right? So you have the ability to make decisions in your life. And so things like a job, for instance, maybe you stay in a job for a while and you do great and you keep getting promoted and you keep getting raises, and your income slowly does go up over time. And so maybe that's a beautiful thing. Or maybe you end up quitting the job that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so miserable here. And you go find something that you're actually really passionate about doing. Normally, you will earn more money doing that thing that you're excited about. And so there's something about the income that does move over time. So feel hope in that. And then also know in your life, people and situations are going to change, and especially the people in your life. And that is where so many opportunities open up in life. And so whether that is deep friendships, maybe that's a romantic relationship, like whatever it may be from work and on, There's something about having people in your life that are different from season to season. It's a really beautiful thing that brings you different kinds of encouragement, brings you different opportunities even in life. And so remember, things in life are constantly shifting. So whether it's the job you have, it's the economy, the people in your life, things are going to change. So your life is not stuck where you are today. It will evolve over time. Lie number 2, my family just isn't rich or good with money. Listen, in Ramsey's national study of millionaires conducted a few years ago, we found that 79% of millionaires are first generation wealthy. Can you believe that? Okay. 8 out of 10, which is incredible, which shows you the majority of people that are wealthy in America today did not inherit their money. They did it by making wise decisions. And again, when I'm talking about wealth, I'm meaning that you have the ability to have $1 million net worth. I would consider that like doing real good. That can include equity in your home, retirement funds, all of that. But there's margin, there's breathing room. Like there's something beautiful about that. And that happens over decisions that are made month after month, year after year, decade after decade. It does not happen overnight, and it's not flashy and exciting. But let me tell you, the stability that can come with this idea of being in control of your money is a beautiful one. And you have the ability to make that decision. So regardless of what your parents have done or not done, you have the ability to make different decisions with your money today. All right, lie number 3 is I can't reach that goal until I'm married or have a spouse's income. So this is a real thing because having 2 incomes in our world today mathematically advances you for sure, right? You're running a household. Now you have 2 people working. You get to work with 2 different incomes. Like you are going to probably build wealth faster. And studies do find married couples tend to build wealth faster. And that makes sense because there's 2 incomes usually coming in. We live in a world today where a 2-income household is very, very common. But what I want you to know is if you are single, if you don't have the 2 incomes, or even if you are married, but your spouse is at home and you just have that one, you still have the ability to build wealth. And there's really a beautiful thing, especially if you're single. You don't have someone else that could be like pulling you down, right? Like, I mean, we talk to a lot of people at Ramsey and their spouses are not on board. They're out spending and they're trying to like be wise with money. And like, it's just a hard thing to do catch up when both people are not on board. And so there's something about having this autonomy where I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing in a sense that like, it's all up to you. But that's the great thing is it's up to you, which is wonderful. Now, if you are married and you still have one income because one spouse is home, just know that it may take you a little bit longer, but that's a decision that you guys have made as a family. And that value system is what's going to bring a level of depth to your life because you're living out of your values, which is a really beautiful thing. So remember, whether you're single, just know, I know single people that are buying houses, they're paying off student loans, they're starting businesses, like they're doing incredible things. And so are people that are married that have one income. So don't just have this belief that we need 2 incomes to win. You don't. Money lie number 4 and 5 are some of the most important beliefs to untangle. But first, I have to tell you about a subscription service that completely untangled my personal info from creepy corners of the internet. You guys, you have to check out Delete Me, because if you do not remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard out there with your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names are out there. And sketchy data broker websites will collect your data, then they sell it to other sketchy companies, and then you're at risk for scams and fraud, and it is not fun. So the good news is that Delete Me goes in and removes your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I, we use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So you guys, your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9. So click the link in the description. All right, lie number 4 is I'm not good with money because of my money tendencies. So I hear this a lot, that people have like these tendencies of like, I'm a spender, so I'm always going to be spending. Or maybe I don't like doing a budget and I feel tied down and I don't want to do a budget. Or maybe on the other end, people are like, oh my gosh, my money tendencies. I mean, maybe I'm a saver and I end up hoarding money because I don't want to spend it. And I'm actually more miserable doing this than feeling the freedom of not having all of this. Like, right. So I hear people from every level of different money tendencies. And let me just tell you, your unique money tendencies, yes, they are you. Okay. There's something wired within you that is beautiful and wonderful and great. And I want you to lean in those because those are who you are. But also they cannot be an excuse for you to be irresponsible with money. Okay. I think about the Enneagram. It's like one of my favorite kind of personality I don't know. I don't even know what you call it, but basically diagnosis is what it feels like. But people will take that as an excuse and they're like, sorry, I'm just so mean. I'm an Enneagram 8. And I'm like, no, you're just a jerk. It's not because you're an Enneagram 8 or like, I'm so late. I'm a 4, so I'm always just so late. No, you have to be a responsible human being, right? So we cannot let it be an excuse. We have to see and correct as adults and be mature in social situations and in life. Like that is part of growing up. But also remember that uniqueness within you has its strengths. So leaning on those is great. But this whole like, I'm going to just surrender to the fact that I can never be great with money because my personality just doesn't lean to it, then you really are going to be miserable your whole life, because I think that mindset creeps into other areas where it ends up being an excuse. And so there is a part of like, hey, let's all be a grown up because I'm a spender. I'm a free spirit. I get it. Totally get it. But if I just spent and never took control of my money, I think I would be a ball of anxiety and stress. And I really think I can temper that down with having a level of a plan and control and saying no to myself when I need to. Like that is a healthy balance. So always remember, there's a healthy balance in all of the money tendencies. All right, lie number 5 is my money won't change until the economy does. So I've heard this one a lot. I mean, there's been, so much about inflation, interest rates are high, gas prices are high, grocery bills are high, housing is high. Like so much feels like a lot in the past few years, especially if you are even more of a Gen Zer and you're like entering the workforce and you're like trying to do this really well. And it's like everything is just so expensive. And it's easy to blame the economy on it because there's some truth to it, right? Like it is more expensive. But also if you sit back and let that excuse hold you back and causes you not to move forward and have any level of action, then you're going to be where you are. Okay. So there is something to be said of, yes, this is a truth. Things are more expensive than they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. And that sucks. Like, I don't like that. So what does that mean now for me? What do I have to do with that? And so maybe it is tempering expectations. Maybe it is, I'm gonna have to work a side hustle for a little bit to pay off this debt. Maybe it means, understanding that, okay, I'm gonna have to cut back on where I shop and I can't shop at the fancy organic grocery store. I have to, go somewhere that's less expensive, but still has great food, like Aldi, for instance, right? Like there are things that you have to make decisions about that counteract what's going on in the economy. But if you just sit there and stay in the excuse of, well, it's just the economy and that's what it is. And a lot of people are there because I scroll on Instagram reels and I see people that just sit there and complain about it. And I get it. It sucks. So I think acknowledging that, but also if you stay in that, you're not going to move forward. So you have to build a whole new set of different expectations and values around your money to counteract what's going on in the economy. And that's actually a really beautiful thing because if you have that flexibility within you to make different decisions, and then let's say the economy's great and like inflation's really low and interest rates are really low and all this, then you're going to be like way ahead of the game because I think you have tempered a really hard economy. And when it goes well, that's what's going to be magnified in you, which is a really beautiful thing. All right, listen, if you are fired up and ready to change, then there is a ways to do this, you guys. Okay, so a couple of things to think about. Number 1, doing a budget. If you have not downloaded EveryDollar, it's a free budgeting app. It's amazing. So I'll put a link down below, but this is a way to really get in control of your money and start with some of these lives to kind of putting it on paper and actually seeing it visibly, like on your phone and visually seeing what's going on with your money can actually combat some of those lies because facts are your friends, especially if you feel like you're in a hopeless situation. Getting the facts is really, really important. And then also who you are around. Remember, the people around you and surrounding you and the voices that are speaking into your life are really, really important. So always remember that. And also, if you want to make sure that you're doing this the right way, make sure to check out the episode, The Worst Ways to Pay Off Debt, especially if you're paying off debt. Click here and I explain everything about it. Or if you're listening on podcast, I'll put a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So I want to talk about how to deal with one of the most common money problems that I hear about, and that is financial stress. So if you've ever felt anxious or stressed about your money, you are not alone. And you would be shocked at how many people feel the same way, really at any income level. So today, I'm going to be sharing 8 ways to deal with your money stress. Now, obviously, we can't just wave a magic wand and get rid of that feeling overnight, but there are some really simple, practical things you can start doing to move in that right direction. And be sure to stick around till the end of the list so you can drop any tips that I may have left out in the comments. All right, so the backstory of this topic I was thinking about is when I actually saw Inside Out 2, that movie. If y'all have not seen it, oh my gosh, it's like therapy in an hour and a half. Like, it is so good. And one of the new characters is anxiety. And there was this moment where she comes to the group of the other emotions and she's like introducing herself. And she's like, hi, I'm anxiety. And she's explaining like how anxious she is and all the things. And fear, that emotion, was like, oh, we're going to be best friends. And she looked at fear and she said, well, you have to worry about what Riley's dealing with today, right now, what she's facing. I worry about what's going to happen to her in the future. Things that haven't even happened yet. That's my job to worry about those. Oh my gosh, kids, are y'all taking notes? Like, does everyone know how profound that is? Because it is so true. So listen, anxiety can happen, fear can happen around money. So you may be feeling fear about your present situation and like, oh my gosh, today I have a bill due and do I have enough money for it? Or maybe it is this level of just anxiety about the future of thinking, okay, are we going to be okay? If we keep going down this path, what's going to happen? So when people feel stressed about money, again, it's usually related to that idea of a fear or a goal they want to achieve. So if that sounds like you, and maybe you are feeling a little hopeless or just frozen, here's where I would start. Okay, you ready? Number 1, take inventory of where you stand with your finances right now. So an easy way to pinpoint where you are in terms of financial priorities is to figure out where you fall on the baby steps. Because a lot of people that are starting off are like, I don't know, am I doing okay? Am I not? So you can kind of figure out, okay, do you have an emergency fund? Are you working your way out of debt? How much debt do you have? What do you have in retirement if you've opened up any type of retirement investing? So actually knowing where you're at, because what we do find too is that some anxiety and fear with money is creeped up just in our heads because you don't even know really what's going on. And the old joke back in the day was like the bill drawer, that when the bills come in, you just put them in a drawer and close it. It's like, I don't even want to look at it. Well, now a lot of things are online. And so the idea of logging on to your accounts and knowing where you actually are may actually decrease some of that fear and anxiety because you have logic going in, which is huge. All right, number 2, create a monthly budget and start tracking your expenses. So this is one of the best ways to get in control of your money. When your income comes in, knowing where it's going, and every single dollar has a plan, has somewhere where it's going. I mean, I want you to be that exact because there is something powerful about taking control over things you can control. Now, I love the EveryDollar app. So if you go to everydollar.com/Rachel, you can actually create a budget for free. You can download the app and do that. But really getting into this process and this rhythm of budgeting and then having that app connect to your bank account, I think is a really crucial step because your transactions then will come in and you'll be able to track your transactions throughout the month. So when you swipe your debit card, you know where it's going because you can drag and drop those transactions in the app. And again, it's this idea that you are on top of your budget, on top of your income, knowing what is going on. All right, number 3, if you have debt, start paying it off. So not having payments will lower your stress. That has been proven time and time again. When you don't owe anyone anything, you have a lot of options and freedom on what to do with your income and your life. So if you do have debt, I recommend paying it off using the debt snowball method, where you list out all of your debts, smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate, pay minimum payments on everything, and attack that smallest debt first. And this is going to cause a lot of momentum because you're going to get those quick wins, which is huge. Number 4, I would encourage you to work with a financial coach. So handling money should never just be a one-man job. So if you are married, you obviously want to handle money with your spouse, but I would have somebody else in your corner too. If you have a great financial coach, make sure to reach out to them. Or even, if you're single, having somebody that does this and to be able to say, hey, will you look at these numbers? And again, that can be a good friend or a family member, but having somebody with you. But then you can go a step further and getting someone that actually is really professional at this when it comes to investing and having an investment professional on your side. But the idea is kind of getting some experts around you, I think is really, really important. All right, number 5, get a side hustle to earn extra cash. So you can do things like grab a local retail job. If you know guitar, teach guitar lessons. My girls are doing piano, and so we have someone coming to the house to do piano lessons, right? If you want to tutor even, one of my friends does this. She tutors a bunch of kids in our neighborhood, which is fantastic. I mean, babysitting, dog sitting, like whatever you can do to earn extra money, I think is really, really key, especially if you're really really stressed and even underwater when it comes to finances, you have to get your income up. And remember, this will not be forever. This additional stream of income, it's going to be helpful for you to relieve some of that stress and get on a better plan. And again, you're not going to do this forever and ever, but for a period of time, it may be something to really consider. All right, before I share the rest of this list, it is time for a bonus tip to beat financial stress, and it's something that could prevent you from having future financial struggles online. Because you guys, there are scammers everywhere these days, and I'll admit, I am one to possibly fall for a scam or two every now and then. I hate it, but sometimes that happens. But listen, there is no shame if you've been there too. If you have fallen for some of this, it is okay because it happens to the best of us, which is why I recommend and I use Delete Me. So Delete Me gives me so much peace of mind. It finds and removes my personal info, like my home address, my phone number, and more from hundreds of data broker websites, helping you to get away from spammers, scammers, and online thieves, and potentially saving you a lot of time and money. So you guys, you need to check it out. So go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Rachel. All right, back to this list to lower our financial stress. Number 6 on the list, which I love, is to make a gratitude list and celebrate your wins. Okay, and this isn't just like, rah, rah, we're going to just be cheesy and have positive thinking. But honestly, you guys, studies have proven that the way we think and what we believe about ourselves and the world around us changes our attitude and our outlook and ultimately our actions. And so there really is something beautiful about thinking, okay, my mind is powerful. And if I sit there and talk about just, how hard it is, it's good to do that. I want you to be honest about where you are, and leaning into those hard emotions is beautiful and great. But we don't want to just stay there, right? You want to move to something better, and you want to move not just a plan tactically, but also in what you believe about yourself. And I would just encourage you that people every day, from every income level, debt level, every part of the country, even the world now, it is wild. People are getting control of their money, and it really is a beautiful thing. And I think part of it is that belief. And it's so hard to have hope when you're stressed. But again, that's why the earlier parts of this list, I think, are important to get some of that tactical control, but then really start believing that, gosh, I can do this, and having that positive thinking and that gratitude. And so gratitude is so key. So even writing down 1 or 2 things you're grateful for every day. I even was listening to a podcast, and someone said before they go to bed, they make themselves think through the day and just pick out 2 things they're grateful for. These small actions, you guys, it changes how we believe and what we think about our world and who we are. So it's really, really key. This is an important step I don't want you to miss. All right, number 7 is always have a future goal that you're working towards. So the 7 baby steps, those are a great guide because it kind of does show you, hey, here's where you should move on next. But always have that goal. And even, maybe it's if you're paying off debt, maybe the next goal is that next debt. Maybe it's not being completely debt-free because that may feel very overwhelming, but it's like, okay, we just got to get that next debt paid off. Or if you're saving up for a fully funded emergency fund, maybe it's like, okay, let's just get first month's emergency fund. Let's just get a month's worth. That's our goal, right? It's these little steps within the steps that are really important, but do those and celebrate those wins. And number 8 is to start giving. So giving is something that is going to change your attitude about money. There is something beautiful about this generosity piece of money that, again, some people are so overwhelmed with their current situation. So I'll just say, give a little until you can give a lot. Even just, paying for someone's order that's behind you in the line, in the drive-thru, or tiny, acts of kindness or generosity can go a really, really long way. It's really beautiful what it does to you and your soul and who you are as a person, but also for the person you're giving to. And so, again, I think it's really important to be prepared financially with all of your finances and everything. But again, like I mentioned earlier, one of the best ways to kind of keep a finger and a pulse on what's going on in your life is to know, okay, how do I feel during all of this? And what generosity and giving does is it just gives you this wholeness of what your money can do. And it's really, really beautiful. Well, I hope that those 8 ways to lower stress help you guys, because I know a lot of people are just feeling the pinch. I mean, today's world, it's so expensive. It is, from the grocery store to the housing market. Like, it is. It's just, it can make you feel behind, and you're not behind. Things are just more expensive, which means we have to be that much more diligent with our money. So do not forget to set up your every dollar budget. Make sure to do that today. And if you haven't, then you definitely need to check out my episode on 6 legit ways to earn passive income. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Everyone's financial situation is different, but whether you are a CEO of a company or an hourly employee, there's one cost that everyone has, and that is the cost of living. So today I'm going to share 8 ways to lower the essential costs in your life and in your budget, just so that you have more margin and more peace with your money. All right, before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to this channel and share this episode with a friend. Okay, so really your essential costs, I consider your 4 walls, which is food, shelter, utilities, transportation. So when you look at these utilities, it's going to be, things to keep your house running. Housing is going to be your rent or mortgage. Transportation is making sure that you have transportation for where you need to go, whether that's a car, making sure you have maintenance and gas and all the things, or maybe it's public transportation. And then we have food. And in food, again, obviously it's a need, but I'm not talking about like extravagant going out to eat all the time, but just like your basic food, groceries, what you need to survive. Those are the things that everyone needs in the world today. So let's talk about cutting some costs. For utilities, let's start there. Number 1, cut or combine streaming services. So this is one part of your bill that you're going to see every single month. And for many of us, you kind of just keep adding on subscriptions. So take a moment and be like, hey, what do we actually watch? And if we only watch like one show on one thing, maybe we can eliminate it for a few months, and that's going to save us some money. So again, combining some of these services or cutting them is going to be your best bet. Number 2 is reduce utility usage. So when you think about your water, for instance, right, taking some shorter showers, when you're brushing your teeth, turn off the sink. Think about electricity. Like if you have lights on all the time, you're going to be paying for that. So maybe turning off some lights, adjusting the thermostat when you're not home. So there's some elements here that is going to get money back in your pocket when it comes to your utilities. And if you pay for any of your utilities online, an easy way to save yourself from losing money is to protect your online privacy from hackers. And this is one reason I love Delete Me. Delete Me is an incredible service that goes in and removes your data, because so much of your data you don't realize is out on the internet. And this is everything from your job history, your address, your phone number. There's so much that is out there. And so data brokers will gather this information and then sell your data to other companies so that they can spam you, sometimes scam you, and we don't want that. So protect your online data with Delete Me. You can get 20% off your Delete Me plan by going to joindeleteme.com/Rachel. All right, next up is transportation. So the very first way, the biggest way for you to save money when it comes to your car is getting rid of your car payment. So the average used car right now, their payments is around $500. A new car is up to $700 to $800. So it is insane how much money your car payments are taking from you. So what do? Well, sell your car. And if you only make like $2,000 to $3,000, go buy a car with cash, save up some money, and maybe buy a $5,000 car. If you're underwater on your car, which a lot of people are, then just say, okay, go take a small loan from the bank. And let's say you have a $25,000 car loan, but you can only sell your car for $20,000. Then go take a $10,000 loan from the bank or an $8,000 loan, pay off the car loan, get rid of the car, and then go and buy a really cheap car. Because I would rather you be $8,000 in debt than $25,000 in debt. So again, finding that way to get rid of that car payment is going to be huge. And listen, that crappy car that you buy, you're not going to drive it your whole life. Drive it, save up on the side, sell it, put your money together, and step up in car. But you're going to do it slowly over time. But putting $500 to $800 back on average into your budget is tremendous. Number 2, I would also say go crazy with the coupons. So when you think about your routine maintenance, from oil changes, tire rotations, all of that, there are so many coupons online. And you want to keep up with your car maintenance because you want your car to be running for a long period of time. So take care of it. This is one issue that it's tough for me. So I'm like, I don't keep up with all the details of my car. But when you're taking care of your car, it's going to avoid bigger issues later on. It's going to cost you a lot of money. All right, up next, let's look at housing. So one great way to save on housing is to check insurance coverage. So when you look at your coverage on your home, maybe you can bundle your home and auto, and you can save some money that way. Also, when it comes to your home, a great way to save some money is to make an extra mortgage payment. This is a great way to save a lot of money. Now, this is for the long haul, but when you look at this, it's crazy. When you just make one extra payment a year, you guys, the math is insane. So to see how much you could save with your mortgage over time when it comes to interest and all of it, make sure to go to our mortgage payoff calculator. I'll put the link down below, but go check it out. Put in your numbers and just kind of mess around with it and say, okay, what if I did 13 payments a year or 14 or 15? And you'll see how much interest you save over time. It's a beautiful thing. All right, last but not least, let's talk about food. So a great way to save money in this category is cut eating out. And this is hard. This is a very hard one because it's so convenient. It is so easy, but we spend so much money going out to eat, especially if you go down to a restaurant, you sit there and it's a sit down experience. You know, you're tipping on top of that. The food, again, it's great that it's made for you. It's wonderful, but you pay for it. And so you do end up saving so much more money when you eat at home. And this doesn't have to be forever, but if you are at a point that you need more margin in your budget, cut going out to eat for a month and see how much money you save. It's an incredible amount. And number 2 is to buy generic. So when you're going to the grocery store, a great way to save some money is to buy generic things. Buy the store brand of what you can. And mostly, we say it all the time, but it's true, a lot of these things are made in the same area, like even in the same factory. And so get a cheaper label because you're going to save money that way. Now, all of this means nothing if you're not budgeting the money that you're saving. So make sure to check out my episode on 4 ways you're ruining your budget without realizing it. That's coming up next. You can click right here to watch that. Or if you are listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.